Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will and with me as always is the head honcho herself,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Overboss Duel. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right, Overboss Duel is a two-player only head-to-head competition using a shared board. Much like the original Overboss, players draft and place terrain tiles and monster tokens each turn. However, in this game, tiles can be placed anywhere, even on your opponent's side. Your goal is to craft your side of the map with the greatest power and sabotage your rival to become the ultimate overboss. Also, the content in this game can be used in the original Overboss as an expansion.
Or the goal is to craft the worst map on your opponent's side.
There is that too.
Awesome.
All right, so Will, why did we get this?
Well, we liked Overboss,
Yep.
and we wanted to see more, and considering this also works as an expansion, it was like a win-win. We get a new mode, and we get more content for a game we like.
Exactly. So let's dive into what we do like about it. The abilities on these tiles are much more, engaging?
Yeah, I feel like I have more agency.
Yes.
Not only do they have interesting scoring, but they have interesting abilities when placed.
Yes.
And there was a little bit of that in the first game, but this actually dives into that a bit more and kind of fleshes it out as a part of the Overboss ecosystem.
Right. You're able to manipulate things better, which in the duel mode usually means messing with your opponent. But even in playing it with the original Overboss rules, that means you can manipulate your own board better as well. We like the double-sided board. They transferred that over just like they did in the original Overboss. So depending on how you feel that day, you can play a short game, you can play a long game. It's just that versatility is really nice. And lastly, Will likes the new duel mode.
Yes. Okay, so in the original Overboss, I had a map, Sarah had a map. I did my stuff on my map. I did not care what was on Sarah's map. It did not matter to me. It was a very solitary experience. This game, because it's a shared map, I am more fully engaged in all aspects of the game because I'm very interested in what she has over there because I could take it, steal it, manipulate it, move it, change it around, add stuff to it. I had a vested interest in her game.
So what do we not like about this game? I don't like the duel mode. I'm like, stay off my board, no touchy. Leave me alone. I'm going to do my thing. No. I'm going to do my thing. You do your thing over there. And then we'll see at the end who did it better. So as you can tell, I'm not a fan of the duel mode. But
You did a mess. Why'd you put a desert right there?
I didn't. You put it there.
Well, it's a good place for it then.
So there's a reason we don't actually play a lot of two-player only games. Half of it is because they're usually not vision friendly because they have a lot of secrecy. The other half is because they're usually very head-to-head, in-your-face, fighty type games. Even if you're not really fighting.
I gave you free stuff.
Free stuff that I don't want. So, yeah, not my thing.
Can't help it. You don't like good stuff.
Nope. But one thing that we both can agree on is the unpredictability of the tokens and tiles coming out is still an issue. I mean, it was an issue in the original game at two-player count, and it's still an issue because it's still at a two-player count.
Yeah.
You use this just a large amount of tiles and tokens, and in the short game, you won't see half of them. And in a long game, you'll see just about half of them. So it's just, with all the other craziness that goes on with the duel mode, that part just kind of feels a little exacerbated.
Yeah.
Okay, who is this for?
Those who actually like the whole Overboss,
Yes.
but felt like it was too isolated for them. They needed more player interaction. This just completely solves that.
Right. So as a standalone game, this is going to be great for those two-player people that
who like touchy.
I like touchy sometimes, but not
Touchy?
no,
Touchy?
not touchy. Okay.
Touchy.
The great part is, even if you don't care much for the duel mode, this can all be used as expansion. So if you like Overboss and you just want more tile choices, this can be bought as an expansion.
Yes.
So there's still a wide variety of people who this could be for. Let's move on to our rating then.
So for our ratings, we're going to do a little something different. We're going to do 2 sets of ratings. The first rating, well, still 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. Give a reason, number, yada, yada, yada. For the game itself as a standalone. Then we'll rate it as an expansion to Overboss.
Sounds good.
So what did Overboss Duel as a standalone game roll for you?
2. I'm sorry. I don't like
I'm so sorry. She didn't mean it. She doesn't know what numbers mean.
It's 2 in your face.
Low is low. 2 is low, and that means you don't like it.
Yeah.
And
I don't like
6 is high, means you do like it.
I'm sorry. You will always be better at these kind of games because I am terrible at figuring out what he's doing. Whereas he's like, oh, this piece is better over on your side. And I'm like, huh? I don't see why. And then later it's like, oh, yeah, that's bad. I really don't want that on my side. But it's too late by that point and I can't do anything about it.
No, the thing is, I don't win this duel.
I thought you did win the duel.
I won 1,
Oh, that's
lost
true.
1.
Okay, so yes, I did manage. Well, here's the thing. The one I won was when we mixed in original Overboss tiles. That's the one I won. You won the duel one where we just used the tiles that came with this game.
You sure it wasn't the other way around?
I'm pretty... Now you're making me question it.
Question everything.
Okay, look. For the most part, this is just 2 in your face, 2 in my face. For me...
Clearly, it's a 2.
The shifting part, I just can't handle that it moves. Like, I feel like I put a piece down, it should stay there until I move it. But you were like, oh, I put a tile down. The very first tile I put down, he's like, oh, I like that. And he moved it across over to his board.
But I gave you a tile.
You did, but it's not... And you gave it to me because you thought that it had to be on my side, not because you actually wanted to give it to me. You misunderstood the placement rules on that.
It was a lousy tile.
It really wasn't great. I'm sorry. It's just... It shifts too fast. I'm not that good at shifting gears that quickly. So there's just a lot of aspects where I just feel like I'm 5 steps behind and I'm just not enjoying it. And that aspect, exacerbated with the unpredictability of the tiles in the first place, it just wasn't an experience I really enjoyed. It's not what I wanted from Overboss.
For me, as a standalone game, it got a 5.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience. It was an aspect of Overboss that I thought was missing. And this kind of answered that question and gave me a chance to feel what it would feel like to have a more interconnected map where it actually mattered what my opponent did. Especially considering how much I could basically mess with that. So, yeah, it was a fun, interesting experience. 7 out of 12, a fantastic score for people who don't understand numbers.
I'm just saying, we can disagree on games, you know that.
I know, I'm just playing with.
I know you're playing with me, but still.
Well, that's enough of that. Let's move on to the expansion. Rating it as an expansion, Overboss Duel, I give it a 5. I really like these tiles. I'd still say that the game Overboss is still probably a little too solitaire, which is why it's not a perfect 6. But these tiles give me the agency I feel was missing from the base game of Overboss.
Right, and so because we usually also compare an expansion to the base, you rated...
a 4.
You rated Overboss a 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So for me, just to go over this, I rated Overboss a 4 as well, from what I remember.
Yes.
I think as an expansion, this does actually improve it to a 5. And it's kind of similarly, I do appreciate what these abilities do to allow you to manipulate so that as you're starting to build your own personal board, that you can change things. You're like, oh, I didn't really mean to put that there. Or if you want to switch tokens or things like that, you've got more opportunity. The only thing I don't like is I'm still not a fan of the heroes and the villages, just because the fact that the heroes keep spawning every time a new village is placed out, I just find that frustrating that it's destroying the bands that I'm trying to build out of the monsters.
But you were killing heroes. And scoring
That's
some good
also
points.
what I was. I was scoring a lot of good points from killing the heroes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword of, yes, if you wanted to play with villages, I'd play with them. I just don't think I'd be the one to say, yes, that's the tile type I want to play with this game. That's kind of more of it.
It's this version's volcano.
Yeah. But volcanoes don't keep triggering. That I think that's
Right.
the fine line difference between it.
Right.
So I also still don't think this is the perfect game, but not because of the multiplayer solitaire, but because there's too many tiles in a 2-player game. And we hadn't really thought about, what do you call it, house ruling it, but we might try that in the future. See about cutting down the tiles in each type. I still like the fact that there's a variety, so not just taking out a whole tile type and only using 4 tile types, but cutting down the number of each, I think would make it a better experience for a 2-player.
So you're more likely to see a little bit of everything.
Right, exactly.
Rather than, well, I know it was in there when I shuffled it. Because I've seen the monster tokens that go with it.
Exactly.
I haven't seen the land that goes with it.
Nope.
But 10 out of 12 is actually really good for adding it in as an expansion.
I honestly think this is a solid expansion to Overboss, and I'm glad we have it for that aspect.
Because Duel's pretty cool. All right, Sarah.
Yes.
Do you know the names of your mini bosses?
They're mini boss number 1 and mini boss number 2.
Fine names.
What about you?
Huh?
Do you have?
No, I'm the overboss. I don't care what their names are. And we've been rolling with reviews.
And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.